Good morning, everyone. So I thought I would show you how to make what I like to call super bread. Without any yeast, without any eggs, just good old flour, water, spices, oil, and some vegetables. Now here I have all the things I typically use. You got your flour, you got your salt and pepper, you got dill weed and everything mix. You got your oil. Here's a pepper. Here's half of a small onion and a tomato. We will be cooking this in an air fryer. Really standard air fryer. You want the temperature set to 360 degrees. Yeah, that'll do wonderfully. And so the first thing you want to do is to grab a tablespoon. You want a tablespoon that looks like this. Just slightly rounded. I just put 3 of those slightly rounded tablespoons of flour in there. And so what we're going to do now is just trust our gut on how much spice we need. That's everything. Then we have dill weed. Next is the salt. You can never forget the salt. Otherwise this will taste really awful. Just a second then. My salt is rough ground salt from a grinder. And for that I cranked it about 6 times. Which is like the equivalent of half a teaspoon, I think. Next we have black pepper. Oh, this is also from a grinder. About 7 times you want to crank that. Again, about the same amount as for your salt. This is about how much onion I have, and that should be all we need. I dice them up pub style like this. Next we have a typical bell pepper. And again, I've diced them up fairly roughly. This is the tomato I have. This is about how much I typically like it to dice up. Finally, you want to stir up all of these ingredients with the very tablespoon that you've been measuring with so far. Everything should look like this after it's been stirred up. Now, we are going to add water. Just a little splash like that. You only really need to cover the surface. If there is too much water, that's fine. Just shake some more flour in. After that, you want to add some oil. What I use is olive oil, although I prefer avocado oil myself. Look at that. That is a ball of dough. Absolutely beautiful. Now you want to put it on parchment paper like this. Flatten it out either with your hands or with a fork. Just like that. You also want to poke holes in it so that it gets ventilation. Absolutely brilliant. Finally, it must go into an air fryer with the parchment paper. Do not worry about the parchment paper. It's meant to handle heat like this. Again, we've set it for 360 degrees, and we're going to check it after 5 minutes. Now, if you haven't achieved perfection, that is completely fine. That typically happens. What you want to do is flip it over like I have, and just keep poking holes. And once you've poked some holes, then you're just going to put this back in for another 5 minutes. Alright? Now sometimes it can take as many as a few flips. This took me 3 in particular, so about 15 minutes total cooking time. But what you should have in the end is bread. Really good looking bread with a slight browning on top. Let's dig into this thing and see what it looks like on the inside, shall we? Yeah. That, my friends, is absolutely lovely. And so there you have it. Completely kosher super bread. I'm gonna enjoy this.